Yeah, I mean, I at least I can't speak to everybody's walk of life, but I can speak to, what I'm seeing in the industry that I live in and breathe in day to day. And the outlook is brighter, and our outlook for what I think was, some of the hardest hit industries were events, hospitality, restaurants, travel, and the outlook is brighter in our industries. And, if the hardest hit industries are looking brighter, then I think it's going to be a good year. So again,
welcome to Keeping Tabs. I'm Tabitha Crock, and every Monday I talk to someone here in North Idaho with the goal to connect more people in the Coeur d'Alene area. And then every Friday I talk to someone outside the community to bring in a new perspective and to learn a little bit about yourself. Okay, I have Ryan Hite with me today. If you know me, I've probably talked about this individual many of times. He is the race director for the Coeur d'Alene Marathon. And since I work for the North Idaho Centennial Trail, I've been working with Ryan for a couple years. Well, now he took on our Coeur de Fondo, so he's doing that. Along with that, he has a whole running company and does many more races. And it's coming to a year where he's actually going to be doing live events. So first of all, thank you, Ryan, for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. So glad to be here.
Of course. So tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got into this running and a little bit about Negative Split.
Yeah, just through college, I kind of got bit by the Ironman bug that kind of swept Coeur d'Alene in our region, I guess. And that was kind of my, I guess, where my passion for the endurance, races and all that kind of stuff came out of. So after doing Ironmans and doing a bunch of races and things on my own, then I kind of decided I wanted to start trying to put some races on myself. And so we put on our first race, our Negative Split half marathon in 2013. And then, just year over year, ever since, we've kind of, added more races and, more fun events. And we've got a bunch of events that we're involved with and planning for, at least in this next year. Last year, we didn't have quite as many events as I would have hoped, but yeah, we're excited because the outlook is definitely bright for 2021.
Yeah. And so, talk about a little bit about your races, especially in the Pacific Northwest. You do have run the PNW. So tell us a little bit about those three races.
Yeah. So our kind of our signature spring series has been our split half marathon, 10K and 5K in April. That's in Kendall Yards in Spokane. The Windermere Marathon, which Windermere Marathon and half marathon in May, and then Coeur d'Alene Marathon to finish out that series, the Coeur d'Alene Marathon, half marathon, 10K and 5K on May 30th. So we're excited. We're bringing back our interlocking medal designs again. So we've kind of made it a part of that series where all three medals connect and create one cool design. So we're excited for that. And we've got some really sweet finisher shirts this year too that we're going to start unveiling here in the next couple weeks. So
I'm so excited. Not only do you run races, I mean, let's say pre-COVID, not only running races in Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, Liberty Lake, you also do races all across the country. So talk a little bit about your company that does that.
Yeah, so pre-COVID, we were kind of all over the place. So, in 2019, we did some military contracted events. I mean, we had an event in Italy of all random places to put on events, and kind of all different states that we did for some military contracted, and really all over the Pacific Northwest. So we also do race timing with timing chips for a lot of different races. In normal times, it'd probably be 100 to 125 races a year that we would chip time kind of throughout the Pacific Northwest of Washington, Idaho, Oregon, in that area. So,
yeah. And so how has things changed now that we are in this, like, I know we're getting out of the pandemic, but things aren't back to normal. So what's the switch? What's the shift?
Yeah, it's, I was on a phone call with another race director, and it's a little bit of a challenge because we're trying to ramp back up and, bring on some more staffing and things like that, but we don't want to do it too soon, because we're still not totally recovered from, what I would call 2020 COVID times. So we're definitely ramping back up. We're seeing our registration numbers and things are definitely shifting and turning around. Where some of our earlier events were operating at, maybe 60, 70. Now we're seeing like 80% of normal registration numbers. And then when you look at like Coeur d'Alene Marathon for, the outlier here at the end of May, we're almost to 100% of our registration numbers with still like 45 to 60 days left to go. So I think that we're going to have a really strong second half of 2021 with lots of people looking to get out and come back to events and do that. And it's, we found a way to do it socially distant still too. So, I mean, it's not like we're just flipping the switch and saying, great, let's have a 5,000 person party. Sorry, getting other calls here too. So hopefully I didn't lose you in the process of that. So, but yeah, it's not like we're just, flipping the switch and going from we can gather with 5 people to now we have 5,000 people. But, we're going to have still smaller starting waves. We're looking at like 30 to 50 people in our start waves kind of over the course of the spring. And hopefully we get back to much bigger than that in the fall as things start to change and continue to get better for us. So,
yeah. And I think like you said it is that racers are wanting this. Like they are so like itching to get, like, if you got that racer blood, if you are a like marathon runner, half marathon, whatever you are, it's like everyone's like, okay, we need this to feel sane again.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's funny because some of our people that are always racing and fast runners, they email me and say, oh, I got to get back to speed work, or oh, I got to get back to this because 2020 was kind of a year of canceled events, and they were just going out and just putting in regular miles without necessarily training hard. So I think people are excited to get back and train hard for something and really have a carrot at the end of the road to work toward.
Yeah. So then with you're taking on now cycling races.
Yeah.
How is that compared to, planning and organizing a marathon and then organizing a 84 100-mile race on bikes?
Yeah, it's well, let's start with, it's just a lot more permits to start with. It's 120 miles of permits versus 26 miles of permits. So there's definitely a lot more logistics and planning that goes into that. There's really kind of two sides. There's the registration and the marketing and all that kind of stuff and creating swag, which that's all very similar. It's more the logistics and planning for the cyclist experience and what that looks like differently compared to the runner experience. So that side of it is a bit different, but it's a fun challenge for us, and we're excited to be involved with the cycling community a little bit more and do some of that. So
yeah, so it's official. You launched registration for the Coeur de Fondo.
Yeah,
it's super exciting, and I love that personally, it's like we're gonna have such a branding, like that everything's under one person and under one company, and we're really, really excited. So if you are a cyclist, make sure you sign up for that because it's going to be a fun year. And then talk about the activities that I guess happen the same day as that.
Yeah, I was just talking to somebody about this too, because it is like the most catered race experience I think that you can get this Fondo. So depending on the distance, you may get a boat cruise with it. You're going to get an Oktoberfest ticket with, up to 32 ounces of beer tastings in pint glass, and, an Oktoberfest meal at the finish of it, really fully catered, aid stations along the course. The swag is going to be on point.
Yes.
The finisher medal this year has a bottle opener built in. We've got some great t-shirts, and we're literally working with vendors every single day to try to get more swag. So we've got some really cool jersey stuff. We've got some cool jersey vendors coming out of California too that I think are going to bring some really fun gear to it. Specialized water bottles and trucker hats. And so, yeah, we're definitely going big on the brand side because we believe that, the CDA Fondo will be a major Fondo in the country to come. And people are going to want to rep the brand and rep the gear. So
I love that. I'm so excited. The gear I've seen so far, I'm really pumped about it. I'm not a huge cyclist, so I'm like, I just want the hat. I just want the kit.
Yeah, yeah.
So you used to live in
It's cool. You can, I mean, people wear bike shorts for everyday apparel, so it's fine. You can, just
that's
rock it out.
true because bike shorts are back in. Like I was like, girls are wearing these bike shorts, and I was like, wait, I wear those when I go like to spin class. I don't wear them now.
Everyday apparel now. So
Love it. So you used to be in the Spokane area. You've moved more west Washington, which is going to probably be crazy for you when it comes to actual races. And
yeah.
luckily we have Zoom, we have all those things. But when you were living in Spokane, what was your go-to favorite restaurant?
Ooh, go-to favorite restaurant. Trying to think. I had so many. Like I was a wellness tree junkie. Like if I wanted a quick like smoothie fix, like wellness tree, I'd hit that up for sure. Um, I just because we had some races there, like I loved some of the Kendall Yards restaurants. Like the Yards Brunchin was a great like breakfast spot. You know, Faraci, now Versalia Pizza was always a great option. So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of little off the beaten path restaurants that every time I get back over there for an event, I always go stop into some of my favorite places. So
So are you just gonna like move back over here for like the summer or
I know it's looking like that. No, I mean, luckily we have a great team of people in Spokane that really can help with a lot of our smaller events, and so hopefully I'm not traveling every weekend to an event, but it's I'll be there for all the big majors, the Coeur d'Alene marathons, the Windermere marathons, that kind of stuff, the Fondos, and
that's the good thing about the Coeur d'Alene and the Windermere is that they're a week apart. So it's just like might as well stay the whole time.
Yep. So yeah, and I'm excited too because we're doing some cool. We have some other cool events that we're doing. Like at the Hiawatha Trail, we're doing a Hiawatha Trail run in June. I'm just gonna set up a little camp set out, and we're gonna kind of create a negative split base camp at some of our events coming up. So
yeah, that's gonna be
it'll
really,
be fun.
really fun race. Tell us a little bit. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. Tell us about this Hiawatha. If you're from this area, the Hiawatha Trail is like iconic. It is what you go ride your bike on. It's what you go and hike, and like it's just amazing. But you are now going to have like a kind of a trail run out on the Hiawatha.
Yeah, so we're launching that. It's our first race in what's going to be kind of our summer Back to Nature series. So we'll have Hiawatha Trail. That'll be June 13th. And there's a 4 mile option, a 15K, which is a little over 9 miles, and a 25K, which is a little over 15 miles. And literally some of the most beautiful landscape you could possibly be running on it. And there's railroad tunnels up to like 1.6, 1.7 miles long. So headlamps are mandatory running equipment, or you literally won't be able to see in the middle of that thing. And then some just beautiful trestles. So yeah, it'll be a really cool running experience. I mean, North Idaho in general just brings some amazing running experiences and scenery. Between like you look at Coeur d'Alene Marathon with like the iconic lake beauty to Hiawatha Trail, which is just such a different experience with running through tunnels and over trestles. We'll have some other ones that are going to be coming up on some ski mountain stuff over the course of the summer too that we haven't totally released out yet, but that'll be coming here in the next week or two as well. So
I love that you guys are doing the trail stuff. I think that's just such a, I guess, untapped around here. I've run places like over in Montana, like the Rut and those things, and they have that trail.
Sure.
It's just a whole different group of people. They don't do marathons. They don't do other things. They do trail.
Yeah.
So for you to tap into that community, you're hitting a whole group of people.
Yeah. And it's, just coming off of last year of just this very like quarantined, isolated time for people, we just felt like this Back to Nature series too was just a great option for people to get outside, be spaced out and safe, but still just go enjoy some of the coolest things there is to offer in the outdoors. So
I love it. I absolutely. Yeah, you got a busy season coming up, and I love it.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
So a question I always ask, and I think this might be because I think you might already have one, but if you have a billboard and you could put anything on it, and I think you have had a billboard and had like run the PNW, but if you could have a billboard and put anything you wanted on it, what would this billboard either have or say on it?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of lean toward what you just said, that whole run the PNW concept. I mean, I just there's so many great places to run, like in, this upper left northwest corner of the United States, between Washington, Idaho. I'll throw Montana into the mix, and Oregon, and I just think there's so many great places to run and great races and experiences to do. And I to me, that like run the PNW it's more than like just a run and running. It's the whole lifestyle surrounding it, right? Like, I mean, like you talked about restaurants and food, and I mean, there's just that whole running culture in the Pacific Northwest, I think is just awesome. So, that's what I'd slap on a billboard for sure.
I was like, I think I might know this, but I always ask this question.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he already has this billboard somewhere.
I mean, there'd probably be like a trucker hat on it or something too, just because I love some trucker hats, although I'm not wearing one today, but love me a trucker hat. So
and like, and you brought this up, is your team. I would love to give them a huge shout out. You have one of the best groups of people, very motivated, very hustler, very like organized. I mean, how did you build this team?
Yeah, I didn't build it. They found me. I don't know what happened. They came out of the woodwork, and I don't know why. So yeah, they're just great people. And they're very talented at what they do, and it's just amazing because, like I say, there's inevitably we're part of or servicing 100 events in a year, and to have people that just totally can manage all the different logistics and operations of that is unbelievable. I couldn't do it, and so it's great to have people that are really good at it. So
yeah, I mean, the team is fantastic. Like, we had that, I met him out at our storage unit, see if you could use anything. And they're just like FaceTiming with you. They're having fun. I was like, these people are just people you want to be friends with.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's, and that's what, I mean, I love that too about this industry. The people I get to work with, the people that come running our races, like you said, they're just people I want to be friends with. They just enjoy the same kind of things that I enjoy, which is awesome. So
yeah, even your volunteers. I feel like you have just a loyal volunteers that show up at your races, and they're just like throwing stuff and picking stuff up, and they're just like going to town. I was like, these people are awesome.
Yeah, no, they're it's just truly, I'm blessed to be surrounded by some pretty awesome people, and it just makes it fun. It's if you were surrounded by people that weren't so entertaining and fun to work with, it wouldn't be as much fun to work some of the long hours on events. But I mean, all these people love it, and I love it, and we have a good time together. So
I love it. So do you have, since you said that you got into this running races, things like that, because you were an endurance athlete, do you have anything coming up that you're training for or planning to, or is race season just going to consume you?
Well, this year it may just consume me, coming off of COVID, trying to ramp everything back up for us, as we're kind of doing it with a little more bare bones staff than what we would have had. So it may kind of consume me this year, but I do have some stuff that hopefully in 2022 I'll get back to doing some more races like that. But with 3 little ones, my racing these days is less Ironman and more half marathon. So it's changed my endurance level a little bit, but there we go.
Or like I always say, parents are like always running. Like your day is constantly like, I want to see your steps and how many you get just like chasing kids and taking them places.
Yeah.
Doing what they do.
Yeah. So mine, because we have so many events on the weekends, I got to find some things midweek. So I do have planned that we're going to climb to the top of Mount St. Helens this summer. So that'll be a fun breakup, but that'll be a midweek event for me, because my weekends get full quickly. So
wow, Mount St. Helens, that's really cool. Are you doing that alone? Or are you with your wife? Or
yeah, it's I'm not totally sure the full people. I know my brother and I are going to do it, and I know there's going to be a few other people that probably jump in with us. So
that's really cool. That's going to be an intense climb.
Yeah, it should be fun. So
well, that's awesome. So I always ask another couple questions. One of them is, you've gone through, like, racing has been your life for many years now, and you obviously have done a lot of different things. Is there one life lesson that you've learned kind of the hard way?
There's not one. There's probably like 21. Yeah, I mean, there's I mean, I think there's lots of life lessons to be learned out of this whole industry. But I mean, balance, I think, is one that this industry can run you over if you don't find a way to maintain that. So it's funny that living when I was living in Spokane and doing events, I actually had less balance than having to commute from over on the other side of the state because I tried to do everything. And so it's actually forced me to separate from things that maybe I don't necessarily have to be involved with every single task, but I can delegate that out a little bit more. So that actually was kind of a big blessing out of changing the locations. But yeah, I mean, that's probably one of the most recent ones that I can think of. But yeah, we've discovered a lot of painful things along the way in terms of events.
Well, yeah, especially with events and racing. I feel like, I mean, you do it well though. If something goes crazy, you're kind of like, I mean, we could talk about the marathon a couple of years ago and how things happen and race and people missing. But like the way you handle it and deal with it is like, you're kind of like, all right, we're going to learn from this and we're going to like figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's easy to get consumed on an event day and think that this is the last day of your life, and if everything doesn't go perfectly, that you're not going to live from it, but you're still going to wake up on Monday morning and have breakfast and go on with your week. So,
exactly.
But yeah, I will say the worst event I think we've possibly ever done. Well, I think it was the best event we've ever done, but it was the worst attendance we've ever had. We threw the biggest, we thought we wanted to get involved with like New Year's Eve parties for events. We threw the most epic New Year's Eve party, like complete with mechanical bowls, knocker ball, like sumo suit, wrestling, every pile into one massive party. And we had like 12 people show up. So it was a really awesome party for my staff. But it was definitely our biggest loser in terms of we lost a lot of money that day and nobody showed up. So
and your staff had a really good time.
Yeah, but one of my staff members brought his kid to it and he's like, yeah, my kid wants to do this for a birthday party every time because it was just the best party he's ever been to. So but yeah, so
day.
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So I know you kind of tapped on it a little bit, but do you have any like goals or, any other projects coming up within the, running community? I know you kind of said you're going to tap into more of that, trail running. Is there any other like goals or ways that you can see you and your company growing?
Yeah, we're looking at really trying to see what other kinds of, partnerships and things we can come up with. There's the endurance industry, well, just the events industry in general, this last year just got hammered in terms of COVID and everything was kind of shut down. And so there's a lot of, races and, events and things out there that I think are struggling and really struggling to come back. And so, we're looking out there to see if there's other partnerships and things. And we've discovered a few that we think could be a real win to help other events kind of still keep going. And then, also maybe let us kind of, look at taking on new events for other companies and things like that, it just was a tough year last year for events. And so, we're kind of excited to look at what those partnerships are and if there's other opportunities for us to get involved with events because of that. So,
yeah. And I think that's a great piece is that partnerships, I think, especially with you, working with the Northwest Centennial Trail, we kind of were like, hey, Ryan's already got this part down, but we have the races. Let's give it to him. He'll make it magic. And then the partnership is that you get to run it, how you guys run it, but you also get to like support the Northwest Centennial Trail. And then as a team, we can grow this together. And I think a lot of times you're just being out there by yourself, trying to get more people and trying to get more sponsors and trying to do it all yourself. But when you have a partner and already have those relationships, it makes it a lot easier and more fun for you too.
For sure. Yeah, no. And that's, it's honestly been a really awesome partnership with the trail. And, I think exactly that. We're looking to see if there's other organizations out there that, might be interested in a similar kind of thing, because I think it's been a great win-win for, both us and the trail and the Coeur d'Alene Marathon and the runners. So I think it's really helped that event grow and, become a really great event for the future. So.
Yeah, for the future. I mean, we're just were kind of like it was rebuilding, and then it started going, and we're like, things are really great, and then COVID hit, and things are going great. But then it also our community sees it and says, oh, this could be like the big race for the Pacific Northwest. This could be like where you want to do your marathon or where you want to do your Fondo, because it is a well-run race. It's got a great partnership. You're helping a nonprofit, but then you also have the views. Like, you don't get the Coeur d'Alene Lake everywhere. You don't get the
no, you don't.
The trees, and the mountains, and the trails. You don't get that.
You're speaking my language right now.
Yep.
So well, and I think that's like, I mean, it's such not to keep bragging on Coeur d'Alene Marathon, but obviously I like it. It's such an iconic race for 50 state marathon runners too. So, we've got, I think 40 to 45 different states represented in the Coeur d'Alene Marathon for this year already. And it's, there's so many people that come in and they want to check Idaho off their list to run a marathon in, and it is the race in Idaho to run for a marathon. So it's definitely the scenic race of them all.
Yep, I agree. So if someone's listening and they want to sign up for one of your races, get a hold of you, maybe they need a race director for their race, they want a partnership. How do they get a hold of you? How do they find you? What's the best way?
Yeah, I mean, there's a little contact form on our website. If you just go to nsplit.com, they can go there and then just fill out an event request form, and it asks some basic questions of, what's your event date, where's it at, how many runners do you expect, that sort of thing. And that's probably the best way to start that. It gives us a little bit of background information, and then we get on a call with them and try to learn more about the event and how we can help and how we can partner. And there's so many different ways that we partner, from Coeur d'Alene Marathon style, where we do full service and we come in and do most everything from start to finish. And then there's other groups where we just come in and, we'll set up a sound system for them and do chip timing. And so we can partner on all different levels of that. So.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point. And then all the races are on your website as well. So if someone wants to register for Negative Split or, Windermere, whatever it is, it's all on there as well.
Yep, absolutely.
And then follow them on social media, because all of their social media is great. They have all the, especially if there's like, you guys ran a promotion for the, for the Fondo and to register before last night. So I think if you follow them on social, if you're a social media person, there's all kinds of cool little or you get to see to the swag before everyone else does.
Yep, absolutely. So we're all about the swag.
So like we've said multiple times, it's been a rough year. Racing community, it's been crazy. People have health issues, mental health, financial, whatever it may be. Do you have one piece of advice you can leave us with, something positive to someone that's listening right now, maybe it's struggling?
Yeah, I mean, at least, I can't speak to everybody's walk of life, but I can speak to, what I'm seeing in the industry that I live in and breathe in day to day. And the outlook is brighter, and our outlook for what I think was, some of the hardest hit industries were events, hospitality, restaurants, travel, and the outlook is brighter in our industries. And, if the hardest hit industries are looking brighter, then, I think it's going to be a good year. So again, I can't speak to everybody's walk of life, but, I think the outlook is brighter for all of us as we look forward. So,
which is thank goodness.
Amen.
All right, Ryan. Well, thank you so much for giving me some time today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for letting me join you.
Thanks for listening to Keeping Tabs. I'm Tabitha Kroc, and every Monday I release a podcast about different community members here in North Idaho. And then we end the weeks on Fridays with a podcast about the things I'm passionate about: outdoors, adventures, sports, the van life, and even current events. So if you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube, Spotify, or iTunes. Thank you again. Now go be kind and do something great.